The secret morning habit that gave me my life back at 78. Most people believe that aging is a steady, inevitable decline. The aches, the stiffness, the mental fog, they accept it as the price of getting older. But what if I told you that doesn't have to be your story? What if a simple ancient morning ritual could bring back the spark you thought was long gone? At 78, I felt like life was slipping away from me. My joints were stiff, my energy levels were low, and even simple pleasures became exhausting. I wasn't living, I was surviving. And then, almost by accident, I stumbled upon a tiny habit. No expensive supplements, no complicated routines, no miracle cures from flashy ads. Just a spoonful of something that's been around for centuries. It wasn't a pill or some exotic superfood. It was a simple oil that changed everything. Cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil. In this video, I'm going to take you through my full journey. You'll discover how I went from stiff, exhausted, and mentally foggy to feeling 20 years younger. The science behind why this oil works, not just for me, but for anyone over 60. The mistakes most people make when trying it, and how to avoid them. How you can safely and simply add it to your own routine, starting today. If you're feeling like aging is stealing your joy, stay with me. The solution might be far simpler than you ever imagined. Habit 1. Starting every morning with cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil. Every morning before the sun fully rises, before the phone rings or the day makes its demands, I begin with one simple ritual. 1 tablespoon of cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil, taken on an empty stomach. This isn't some passing trend or new age health hack. This is a return to something ancient, something rooted in generations of people who lived vibrant, long lives without the modern crutches we so often rely on today. The more I studied, the more I realized that this simple oil held a kind of quiet power, one that modern science is only now beginning to catch up with. For years I woke up each morning dreading the day ahead. My joints ached before my feet even hit the floor. My digestion was unpredictable. My mood was heavy and flat. Tasks that once brought me joy became exhausting obstacles. I thought this was just how life after 70 was supposed to feel, until I discovered how something as small as this morning ritual could slowly reverse the tide. Why olive oil? Cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fats, particularly oleic acid, which helps reduce inflammation throughout the body. Chronic inflammation is one of the leading contributors to joint pain, heart disease, digestive issues, and cognitive decline as we age. By starting my day with olive oil, I was feeding my body the raw materials it needed to fight the silent fires inside me. But that's not all. Olive oil is also packed with polyphenols, powerful antioxidants that combat oxidative stress, protect cells from damage, and support brain health. These polyphenols have been studied for their potential role in reducing the risk of diseases like Alzheimer's, certain cancers, and even mood disorders. Within a few weeks of starting this habit, I noticed subtle changes. My digestion, once unpredictable and uncomfortable, became more regular. The bloating that used to greet me every morning was gone. My gut felt calm, like it was finally getting the nourishment it had long been missing. The unexpected mental shift. What surprised me even more was how my mind responded. That heavy mental fog I had simply accepted as part of aging slowly started to lift. My thoughts became sharper, my memory steadier. I could carry on conversations without losing my train of thought or struggling for the right words. I found myself reading again, writing again, fully engaged with the world around me. This was the first time in years that I felt truly present. Restoring joint function. The stiffness in my joints, especially in the mornings, began to ease as well. My knees no longer popped and cracked as loudly when I stood. My fingers, once stiff and sore, moved with greater ease. I could climb stairs without pausing, go for longer walks without the old familiar aches dragging me down. The oil was doing more than easing symptoms. It was restoring function, reminding my body how to heal. The key is consistency. But here's the most important lesson I learned. Consistency is everything. This isn't a magic bullet. You won't feel 20 years younger after the first spoonful. But over weeks and months, those small, steady improvements begin to build on each other. One good day turns into two, then a week, then a month. Before you know it, you're not just feeling better, you're living better. Taking olive oil each morning has become a sacred moment of self-care, a promise I make to myself every single day. I no longer feel like life is slipping through my fingers. Instead, I feel like I'm reclaiming pieces of myself I thought were lost forever. Habit 2. Turning mornings into a mindful, unhurried ritual. For much of my life, mornings were something to survive. The alarm would buzz, responsibilities would come crashing in, and I would scramble through the routine. Breakfast, medicine, appointments, errands. It was a blur. And as I got older, the rush didn't slow down, my body did. The frantic pace of my younger years didn't fit anymore, but the habit of rushing remained. That's when I discovered the second habit that has profoundly changed my daily experience, slowing down my mornings with mindfulness and intention. The power of a calm beginning. What I failed to realize for decades was that how we begin our day often shapes everything that follows. When you start your morning frazzled, anxious, or distracted, that energy carries into your relationships, your mood, and your physical health. I didn't understand that I was creating my own exhaustion long before the afternoon even arrived. After I began my daily olive oil ritual, I noticed that something deeper was happening. The act of pausing, even for 30 seconds to take my oil, was shifting my entire mindset. I wondered, what if I extended this pause? What if my mornings became a time not to rush, but to prepare my mind and body for the day ahead? Building my morning ritual. I didn't overhaul my routine overnight. I simply added small, meaningful steps. Gentle awakening. I stopped using a loud alarm. Instead, I wake up to soft instrumental music or natural sounds like ocean waves. This reduces the jarring transition from sleep to wakefulness. Stretching in bed. Before even standing, I do light stretches, flexing my feet, rolling my ankles, gently rotating my neck. This signals my joints and muscles that it's time to wake up, reducing stiffness and preventing sudden strain. Deep breathing. I sit up and take 5 long, slow breaths. I focus on nothing but the sensation of air filling my lungs. This simple act centers my mind and stabilizes my nervous system before the day truly begins. Gratitude practice. Before checking my phone or speaking to anyone, I mentally list 3 things I am grateful for, no matter how small. Some days it's my comfortable bed, other days as my grandchildren, as laughter, or simply the fact that I woke up feeling strong. Hydration ritual. After taking my olive oil, I drink a glass of warm water with a few drops of lemon. This wakes up my digestive system and supports hydration after a long night's rest. Unhurried breakfast. Preparation. Instead of rushing through breakfast, I prepare it slowly, savoring each step. Whether I'm slicing fruit or making oatmeal, I approach it like a form of meditation, fully present. Why this works so well for older adults? As we age, our nervous systems become more sensitive to stress. High cortisol levels, which spike when we wake up stressed, contribute to inflammation, fatigue, and even memory problems. By slowing down, I'm teaching my body that it's safe, that there's no need to panic, and that calm spreads through every system: digestion, immunity, mood, cognition. Moreover, rushing increases the risk of falls, accidents, and injuries that become more dangerous as we grow older. My unhurried approach allows me to move thoughtfully, reducing strain on my joints and muscles while preserving balance and coordination. The emotional gift of slowing down. Beyond the physical benefits, this mindful morning habit restored something even more precious: joy. The simple act of moving slowly, breathing deeply, and paying attention turned mundane moments into sacred ones. When I prepare my morning toast, I notice the colors of the fruit beside it. When I sip my tea, I truly taste it. When sunlight filters through the window, I pause to feel its warmth on my skin. These small intentional pauses have transformed my mornings from rushed survival to peaceful renewal. A lesson I wish I'd learned earlier. In my younger days, I thought productivity meant doing more in less time. Now I understand. True productivity begins with presence, not speed. By giving my morning space, I've gained something I never had before, the full experience of living each moment. Slowing down has become an act of self-respect, a quiet statement that even as the years accumulate, I am not racing toward the finish line. I am savoring the journey, one gentle, mindful morning at a time. Habit 3. Replacing processed foods with whole living nutrition. If you had asked me 10 years ago about my diet, I would have shrugged and said, I eat pretty normal. Toast and jam for breakfast, a sandwich for lunch, pasta or meat with potatoes for dinner. Some cookies in the afternoon with coffee. At my age, wasn't that good enough? Wasn't it what everyone else my age was doing? But as the years passed, my body quietly disagreed. My energy dipped, my digestion slowed, my skin dulled, my sleep became restless, my joints ached. And despite the many medications my doctors prescribed, nothing truly seemed to bring me back to feeling whole. The truth I finally faced was uncomfortable. What I was calling normal was actually part of my problem. How processed foods silently steal our vitality. Most of the foods I ate were convenient, yes, but far from real nourishment. Store-bought bread filled with preservatives, breakfast spreads packed with sugar, frozen meals overloaded with sodium, snacks loaded with additives to make them taste better. These were not foods designed to serve my body. They were designed to serve the food company's bottom line. As we age, our digestion slows and our organs become more sensitive. Our cells crave nutrients that rebuild, restore, and fight inflammation. But instead of feeding my body life, I was feeding it dead, engineered products stripped of their natural vitality. I had become what I now call full but undernourished, the gentle awakening food as medicine. It wasn't a doctor who finally convinced me to change, it was my granddaughter. During a family lunch, she simply asked, "Grandpa, why don't you eat more like the people in blue zones? You know, where people live to be 100? That question stuck in my heart. I went home and researched blue zones, places like Okinawa, Sardinia, and Ikaria. Their diets were simple but powerful, mostly whole plant-based foods, vegetables, legumes, fresh fruits, whole grains, small portions of fish, olive oil, nuts, herbs, and very little processed food, sugar, or red meat. The lesson was clear. The closer food is to the way nature made it, the more healing power it holds. How I slowly rebuilt my diet. I didn't overhaul everything overnight. Like my morning ritual, I took slow, deliberate steps that respected both my habits and my body's pace. 1. I cut out processed sugars. Sodas, pastries, candy, and sweetened cereals were the first to go. Instead, I enjoyed natural sweetness from berries, apples, pears, and dates. 2. I replaced white bread and pasta with whole grains. I discovered how satisfying oatmeal, quinoa, brown rice, and barley could be, filling me without the bloated, heavy feeling. 3. I embraced vegetables, lots of them. Every meal became colorful. Spinach, broccoli, carrots, zucchini, peppers, kale. The more color on my plate, the more alive I felt. 4. I reduced red meat dramatically. Instead, I ate more wild-caught fish like salmon or sardines, and occasionally organic chicken. 5. I upgraded my fats. Butter and margarine were replaced with my trusted extra virgin olive oil, avocado, and a few raw nuts. 6. I minimized packaged snacks. If it came in a box with an ingredient list I couldn't pronounce, I left it on the store shelf. 7. I drank more water, often flavored with lemon, cucumber, or mint to make hydration feel refreshing. 8. I prioritized home cooking. Simple soups, stews, roasted vegetables, and fresh salads became the backbone of my meals. The hidden miracle, food and emotional health. What surprised me most was not only how my body responded, but how my mind did. As my inflammation lowered, my digestion improved, and my sleep deepened, my mood shifted dramatically. I felt lighter emotionally, my anxiety lessened, my patience increased, even my memory sharpened. Science now confirms what I experienced. The gut and brain are deeply connected. A nourished gut supports a calmer, clearer mind, the wisdom of simplicity. People often ask me, "Do you follow a diet?" I smile and say, "No, I follow nature." That's really all it is. The more my plate resembles what my grandparents might have eaten from their gardens, the better I feel. No miracle pills, no expensive powders, no complicated rules. Just simple, whole, honest food. Habit 4, reclaiming movement. Through gentle, intentional exercise. When I was in my 40s and 50s, movement was something I barely thought about. I walked fast, lifted things without much care, climbed stairs without hesitation. Even when I was busy, I could always rely on my body to simply respond. But as I moved through my 60s and into my 70s, everything changed. Movement became something I had to plan, something that required caution, even negotiation with my own body. My joints stiffened, my muscles weakened, my balance wobbled. My energy dipped quickly after even light activity, and slowly I started to withdraw. It's a cruel irony of aging. The less you move, the harder it becomes to move. Like so many others my age, I found myself sitting longer, resting more, making excuses to skip activities that once brought me joy. My world shrank, not because I wanted it to, but because my body convinced me it was safer to stay still. The dangerous seduction of inactivity. At first, rest feels helpful. You sit longer to avoid the aches. You skip the walk because you're tired. You postpone stretching because your joints feel tight. But over time, these small decisions stack up. Your muscles atrophy, your balance weakens, your circulation suffers, your confidence in your own body fades. This is how many people my age accidentally speed up their decline, not because of illness, but because of the slow erosion of daily movement. The gentle awakening, motion as medicine. The shift came for me in a way I never expected. It was not a stern lecture from a doctor. It was not a scary test result. It was my grandson. One day, watching me struggle to stand after sitting, he innocently asked, "Grandpa, why do you move like everything hurts?" His words weren't cruel, they were honest, and they struck me deeply. I realized that I wasn't only losing physical strength, I was losing how others saw me. I didn't want to be seen as fragile. I wanted to reclaim dignity in my movement. That day, I made a quiet promise to myself. Every single day, I will move, gently, but intentionally. How I rebuilt my relationship with movement. I didn't join a gym. I didn't hire a trainer. I didn't sign up for extreme programs. Instead, I built a quiet daily practice, one I still follow today. 1. Morning stretches before breakfast. I take 10 minutes to slowly stretch. Neck, shoulders, back, hips, legs. Nothing fancy. Gentle movements that wake up my joints and tell my muscles, we're still alive. 2. Short daily walks. Instead of forcing long walks, I started with short ones, just 5 or 10 minutes around the block. As my strength returned, my walks naturally grew longer. 3. Balance practice. Every day, I practice simple balance moves, standing on one foot, slow heel-to-toe walking, light stepping exercises. This has protected me from falls more than anything else. 4. Light resistance. 2 or 3 times a week, I use light dumbbells or resistance bands. Nothing heavy, just enough to challenge my muscles and signal my bones. Stay strong. 5. Chair yoga. On days when my joints feel stiff, I follow gentle chair yoga routines from YouTube. These have been a gift. Stretching, breathing, moving, all while being safe. Movement restored my confidence. What surprised me most was how quickly my confidence returned. Even small improvements mattered. Standing up from chairs without using my hands, walking stairs with less hesitation, playing with my great-grandchildren without fear of falling, feeling steady, grounded, and capable again. When your body feels stable, your mind feels secure. The emotional power of movement beyond physical gains. Movement brought emotional healing. My anxiety about aging eased, my sleep improved, my mood brightened. Even my digestion benefited from simple walks after meals. Every small movement whispered a powerful truth. You're not done. You're still capable. The secret is not intensity. It's consistency. Many people make the mistake of chasing intense programs, then quitting when their bodies rebel. The real secret, especially after 60, is small, consistent effort. 10 minutes is better than 0. A short walk is better than sitting. Gentle balance work is better than risking a fall. Over months, these small acts accumulate, rebuilding strength, restoring grace, and rekindling confidence. Movement is my daily medicine today. At 78, I don't chase youth. I pursue vitality. And every morning when I move, I send my body this message: I still believe in you. Let's keep going. Habit 5. Guarding my mind, the daily practice of mental clarity. When I was younger, my mind was like a sharp blade, quick, focused, always ready to solve problems, recall names, dates, and conversations effortlessly. But as the years passed, I noticed something start to slip. It wasn't dramatic at first. A word would escape me. I'd forget where I put my glasses. Sometimes I'd reread the same paragraph because I couldn't hold on to its meaning. At first I laughed it off. That's just part of aging, I told myself. But over time, those small lapses added up. Simple conversations required more concentration. Reading became work instead of pleasure. Even following instructions sometimes frustrated me. What scared me most wasn't the forgetfulness. It was losing my sharpness. The feeling that my mind, once so agile, was growing foggy. The danger of accepting mental decline. Many people my age simply accept that mental fog is unavoidable. They stop challenging their minds, they stop learning new things. They retreat into comfort zones, afraid of making mistakes or looking foolish. That surrender is the real enemy. The brain, like any muscle, weakens from disuse. If we stop giving it challenges, stimulation, and new information, it begins to shut down parts of itself. Neurons disconnect, memories fade, processing slows. I realized I didn't just want to protect my body as I aged, I wanted to protect my mind. My daily ritual for mental sharpness. No expensive program, no fancy supplements, just simple daily habits that nourish my mind. 1. Reading. Every morning. Every day, I read something new. A few pages from a book, an article, a poem. It doesn't matter what. What matters is that my mind continues to absorb, analyze, and interpret new information. 2. Learning something new every week. Whether it's a word in a foreign language, a new recipe, or a bit of history I never knew, learning keeps the brain engaged. Curiosity becomes my exercise. 3. Puzzles and brain games. I work on simple puzzles, crosswords, Sudoku, logic games. These keep my mental problem-solving pathways active and sharp. 4. Conscious conversations. When talking to my children or friends, I make a point to deeply listen, ask questions, and engage fully, not just wait for my turn to speak. This keeps my attention sharp and strengthens memory. 5. Writing or journaling. Some days I write letters, some days I journal. Putting thoughts into words forces clarity, helps me organize my ideas, and keeps my mind active. The emotional side of mental fitness. Keeping my mind sharp has done more than preserve memory. It keeps my confidence intact. It protects me from the quiet fear of becoming dependent. It helps me stay engaged with my grandchildren's world, with technology, with new ideas. Mental clarity protects my dignity. The key, gentle, consistent effort. You don't need to become a scholar in old age. You don't need to master complicated subjects. But you do need to stay curious. Even 10 minutes of reading, a 5-minute puzzle, or learning a new word each day builds mental resilience. My mind is still my greatest asset. At 78, my hair is grey and my body moves slower. But my mind, it remains alive, questioning and eager. And that perhaps is my greatest victory over aging. Habit 6. Nurturing my sleep, the foundation of my daily strength. In my younger years, I never thought much about sleep. It was something that simply happened when I laid down at night. But as I grew older, sleep transformed from something effortless into a nightly struggle. I'd lie awake, tossing and turning. When I finally fell asleep, I'd wake up 2 or 3 times in the night. Some mornings I'd rise from bed feeling even more tired than when I laid down. There was an ache behind my eyes, a fog in my head, and a heaviness in my body. The worst part wasn't just the lack of rest. It was how poor sleep drained every other part of my life. My mood soured easily. I struggled to focus on simple tasks. My joints ached more. Even my digestion seemed worse after sleepless nights. For a long time I thought, that's just how it is after 70. But that lie cost me years of unnecessary exhaustion. The turning point: sleep is not optional, it's medicine. One morning, after barely sleeping, I sat with my doctor. She looked at me seriously and said, "If you don't start protecting your sleep, nothing else will fully work. Not diet, not exercise, not even your mind." That moment hit me hard. I finally understood. Sleep is not a luxury. It's the fuel my aging body desperately needs. If I wanted to restore my energy, sharpen my mind, strengthen my joints, I had to reclaim my nights. My sleep restoration ritual. Over the next months, I built a simple, disciplined sleep ritual that changed everything. 1. Consistent sleep schedule. I go to bed at the same time every night, even weekends. Consistency trained my internal clock to prepare for rest. 2. Evening wind-down routine. An hour before bed, I dimmed the lights. No screens, no TV, no phone. Instead, I read a few pages of a calming book or listened to gentle music. 3. Light evening meals. Heavy dinners used to disturb my sleep. Now I eat lighter meals early, giving my digestion time to settle before bed. 4. Natural sleep aids, without pills. I sip warm chamomile tea. I sometimes diffuse lavender oil near my bed. These gentle aids help relax both my mind and body naturally. 5. Protecting my sleep environment. My bedroom is cool and dark. I use blackout curtains and turn off all unnecessary lights. A simple white noise machine drowns out outside sounds. 6. Morning light exposure. Each morning I expose my eyes to natural sunlight. This resets my circadian rhythm and strengthens my nighttime sleep quality. The quiet benefits of restful sleep. After weeks of consistency, everything started to change. My morning energy returned, my mood lifted, my joints ached less, my mind was sharper. Sleep became my secret weapon. It didn't erase my age, but it allowed me to face each day with strength, calm, and focus. Sleep is the great healer of aging. Many seniors chase new diets, new exercises, or supplements, but without proper sleep, none of them reach their full potential. Sleep repairs, sleep renews, sleep protects the mind from decline. Now at 78, I see sleep as my greatest form of self-care. Each night is my body's quiet opportunity to heal, to strengthen, and to prepare me for another precious day of life. Habit 7. Gentle morning stretching, awakening my aging body. When I was young, I never thought much about stretching. I could leap out of bed, move freely, and go about my day without stiffness or hesitation. But with age, my body began to resist those once simple movements. Every morning, I would wake up feeling locked inside my own muscles, my back stiff, my shoulders tight, my hips refusing to loosen. Even my neck creaked like an old door hinge. The smallest actions, bending to put on socks, reaching for a shelf, turning to look behind, became uncomfortable reminders that my body no longer moved like it used to, and I accepted it, for years, as just another part of growing old. But over time, I realized something simple but powerful. Stiffness is not always an unavoidable symptom of age. Sometimes it's a consequence of neglect. Just like a machine that rusts without use, my muscles and joints had stiffened from lack of attention. The discovery: stretching is my morning medicine. One morning, I watched my granddaughter doing simple stretches before school. Her movements were graceful, her body light. I smiled, but inside I felt a longing, a quiet wish that my body could still move that freely. That day I made a decision. I would begin each morning not with pain, but with gentle movement. My simple daily stretching routine. I started small, no fancy routines, no complicated yoga poses, just a few gentle stretches in the quiet of my living room right after I woke up. 1. Neck rolls. Slowly tilting my head from side to side. Soft circles releasing tension in my neck. 2. Shoulder rolls. Rotating my shoulders backward and forward, letting the tightness melt away. 3. Spinal twists. Seated. Sitting on a chair, gently twisting my torso side to side. feeling my spine awaken with each twist. 4. Hamstring stretches. Sitting and slowly reaching for my toes. Never forcing, just inviting my legs to stretch a little more each day. 5. Hip openers, gentle knee lifts while seated, opening my tight hips gradually. 6. Ankle circles, rotating each ankle, improving circulation and joint flexibility. This entire routine takes only 10-15 minutes, but its impact has been profound. The quiet transformation. Within weeks of consistent practice, I noticed changes. I stood taller. My morning stiffness eased. My balance improved. Everyday tasks, tying shoes, walking, gardening, felt easier again. But beyond the physical, something else shifted. My confidence returned. Each stretch became a silent message to my body. You are still capable. You are still strong. You are still alive. Movement is life. At any age now, stretching isn't a chore. It is a daily gift I give myself, a small but powerful declaration that my age does not define my mobility. Even at 78, my body thanks me every day for these gentle moments of care. Because while we may not control aging, we can absolutely control how we greet each morning. Habit 8. The power of midday rest. How short naps changed my aging life. In my younger years, I used to think that naps were only for children or the weak. The idea of resting in the middle of the day seemed unnecessary, wasted time. But as I entered my 70s, my body whispered a different story. Even after a full night's sleep, there were days when I felt drained by noon. My mind slowed. My eyes grew heavy. My body demanded a pause. I used to fight it. I'd drink coffee, walk around, or push through the fatigue, thinking that resting during the day was admitting defeat. But all it did was leave me more exhausted by evening, more irritable, and less present with my family. Then I discovered something that changed everything: the healing power of a short midday nap. Napping, not laziness, but recovery. At first I was skeptical, but I began reading about cultures where napping is a respected tradition: Spain's siesta, Italy's riposo, even ancient civilizations that honored rest as part of life's rhythm. I realized that rest isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Our bodies are not machines. They follow natural cycles, waves of energy and natural dips, and after 70, these dips become more noticeable. Instead of resisting, I decided to honor them. My daily nap ritual. Now, nearly every day after lunch, I gift myself 20 to 30 minutes of rest. Not a deep sleep, not hours of lying in bed, just a gentle pause. Here's my simple process. Timing. Around 1 to 2 p.m., after lunch but before the late afternoon. Environment. Quiet room. Curtains drawn slightly. No phone, no TV. Soft pillow under my head. Mindset. I don't force myself to fall asleep. I simply close my eyes, slow my breathing, and allow my body to rest. Most days, I drift into light sleep for about 15 to 20 minutes. Sometimes, I don't fully fall asleep, and that's okay. The stillness itself restores me. The remarkable benefits I've experienced. After just a few weeks of practicing this habit, I noticed my mental clarity improved dramatically in the afternoons. I was more patient and engaged in conversations. My evening energy increased. I no longer collapsed at 6 p.m. My mood stabilized. I smiled more, snapped less. Surprisingly, even my nighttime sleep improved. A short nap didn't steal from my nighttime rest. Instead, it balanced my body's rhythm. Naps rebuilt my emotional resilience. One unexpected gift of napping was emotional. After resting, I felt calmer, less reactive, better able to face small daily frustrations without being overwhelmed. It helped me reconnect with my loved ones with more joy and presence. I became a better listener, a softer grandparent, a more patient spouse. Listen to your body's rhythm. I used to fear naps were a sign of decline. Now I see them as an act of respect for my aging body. A small pause that gives me energy to fully enjoy the second half of each day. At 78, this habit has taught me that sometimes the best way to move forward is to stop for a moment. Habit 9. Hydration. The overlooked secret that gave me my energy back at 78. For most of my life, I underestimated water. I drank it, of course. A glass here, a cup there, with meals mostly. I assumed coffee, tea, juice, and soups all counted. I never gave hydration much thought. But as I entered my late 60s and early 70s, something changed. My skin looked dry and tired. My digestion slowed. My joints felt stiffer. My mind became foggy. And most of all, I felt tired, all the time. At first, I blamed age. It's natural, I thought. The doctors didn't seem alarmed. Blood work looked normal. I accepted it as part of growing old. Until one day, during a conversation with a younger neighbor, everything shifted. She asked me, "How much plain water do you drink each day?" I froze. I couldn't answer honestly, because the truth was, not much. That simple question planted a seed. The hidden dehydration of aging. As I researched, I learned something few doctors mention. As we age, our bodies become worse at signaling thirst. Our natural thirst alarm weakens. We think we're drinking enough when in reality, we're running mildly dehydrated most of the time. Even small dehydration can slow down digestion, reduce joint lubrication, fog up memory, weaken energy levels, impact sleep quality, make the skin age faster. The small habit that changed everything. From that day, I made one promise to myself: prioritize water. Here's how I rebuilt my hydration routine. One first thing in the morning, 1 full glass of room temperature water before coffee or food. 2 small, steady sips throughout the day. I carry a refillable water bottle everywhere. I sip regularly, never waiting to feel thirsty. 3 before each meal, half a glass to support digestion without overfilling my stomach. 4 early evening reminder, 1 final glass by 7 p.m. to hydrate before bedtime, avoiding late-night bathroom trips. The impact was stunning. Within just 1 to 2 weeks of consistent hydration, my digestion improved. Less bloating, smoother bowel movements. My skin looked fresher, less dry and saggy. My morning stiffness reduced. My mental clarity returned. The fatigue I carried for years started to lift. Even my mood lightened. I smiled more. I engaged more. Hydration, as daily self-respect water, became more than just a drink. It became an act of daily respect for my aging body. I learned that hydration is one of the easiest, most affordable, yet most neglected anti-aging secrets. Not pills, not fancy treatments, just pure, simple water. Even at 78, my body still responds to what it truly needs. Sometimes, all it takes is listening. Habit 10. Mindful breathing, the quiet anchor that helped me reclaim calmness at 78. At 78, I thought stress and restlessness were simply part of aging. I would wake up feeling anxious for no reason. My mind would jump from thought to thought. I worried about my health, my children, my finances, even about small things like the weather or traffic. It was exhausting. And the worst part was, many of these worries weren't even real problems, they were just noise. I tried reading, walking, even watching television to distract myself. But nothing truly quieted my mind until I stumbled upon something both ancient and simple: mindful breathing, a simple practice, a profound change. I had heard about mindfulness and meditation for years, but always thought, that's for monks or young people, not for someone my age. I was wrong. One day I came across a short video teaching something called box breathing, used by everyone from Navy SEALs to people dealing with anxiety. It went like this. Inhale slowly through the nose for 4 seconds. Hold the breath for 4 seconds. Exhale slowly through the mouth for 4 seconds. Pause for 4 seconds. And repeat. At first I thought it sounded too easy to work, but out of curiosity I tried it. Something unexpected happened. After just a few rounds, my racing mind slowed. The tension in my chest softened. I felt grounded, present, even peaceful. It didn't erase all my worries, but it gave my mind a break, something I hadn't felt in years. The science behind it. As I researched more, I discovered why this simple breathing worked so well, especially for someone my age. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for rest, digestion, and healing. It lowers cortisol, the stress hormone. It slows the heart rate. It improves oxygen exchange. It helps regulate blood pressure. In short, mindful breathing gently tells your body, you're safe. You can relax now. And as I practiced it daily, I noticed real changes. I slept better at night. My mood stabilized. My digestion improved. My blood pressure readings got better. I worried less about things I couldn't control. How I practice it today. Every morning, right after taking my olive oil, I sit quietly for 5–10 minutes and do my breathing routine. If I feel tense during the day, I pause and do a few rounds. Even at night, when my mind starts racing, I lie in bed and gently breathe in this pattern. It has become my invisible medicine. No cost, no side effects, always available. Breathing is life. I learned that breath is not just automatic, it's medicine. And at 78, finding ways to calm my mind is just as important as strengthening my body. Mindful breathing gave me back not only peace, but confidence. Because when you control your breath, you start to control your reaction to life itself. Habit 11. Spending 10 minutes outside every day, my secret window to youth. At 78, I've discovered that the most powerful medicine isn't always found in bottles or clinics. Sometimes it's right outside your front door. For years, I underestimated how much my body and mind craved something so simple: fresh air, sunlight, nature. As I got older, I stayed indoors more. My routines became centered around the house: television, reading, occasional visitors, or doctor's appointments. The more I stayed inside, the heavier my body felt, the foggier my mind became, and the quieter my spirit grew. I used to think, I'm safe and comfortable here, but the truth was, I was shrinking inside my own home. The turning point one morning, my grandson visited and said, "Grandpa, why don't you come sit outside with me for a bit?" Reluctantly, I followed him. We sat quietly on the porch. The sun warmed my face. The gentle breeze carried the scent of flowers and grass. Birds chirped in the distance. For the first time in a long while, I felt alive. That 10-minute moment started something I didn't expect. Why stepping outside changed my health. As I made this a daily ritual, something remarkable happened. My mood lifted, my joints loosened, my sleep improved, my blood pressure stabilized, my mind became clearer. I later discovered that natural light resets our circadian rhythm, improving sleep and hormone balance. Fresh air increases oxygen levels, supporting heart and brain function. Movement outside, even gentle walking, keeps joints flexible and muscles engaged. But beyond the physical benefits, stepping outside rekindled my connection with life itself. Watching the sunrise reminded me of new beginnings. Hearing birds reminded me that the world continues no matter my age. Feeling the breeze reminded me that I was still a part of something bigger. How I practice this simple habit. Every morning after my olive oil and breathing routine, I open my door and step outside for at least 10 minutes. Sometimes I sit quietly. Sometimes I take a slow walk around my small garden. Sometimes I simply breathe and observe. Even rainy or cold days don't stop me. On those days, I simply dress warmer or sit by an open window. This tiny commitment has given me more energy than any vitamin I've ever taken. The deeper lesson. Aging teaches us to simplify. I don't need grand adventures to feel alive. Sometimes all I need is the morning sun on my face, a few birds singing, and a quiet moment of gratitude. And that, I've learned, is one of the most powerful anti-aging secrets. Staying connected to nature keeps you connected to life. Habit 12 ending. Each day with gratitude, the quiet habit that keeps my spirit young. At 78, I've realized that staying youthful isn't just about what you eat, how you move, or even how you sleep. It's about what you hold in your heart as each day closes. For much of my life, I didn't pay attention to this. I would fall asleep with worry in my mind about my health, my family, the world, the future. I believed that worrying was normal, even responsible. But over time, I saw how that constant burden aged me more than any gray hair or wrinkle ever could. Then one night, everything shifted because of a very simple change. The power of a quiet reflection. After a long conversation with an old friend who battled serious illness, She said something that stayed with me. I can't control everything in life, but I can control what I focus on before I close my eyes. That small sentence planted a seed in my mind. I decided that before sleeping, I would replace my worries with gratitude, not for anything grand, but for small, quiet blessings. The warm cup of tea I enjoyed that morning, the laughter I shared with my grandson, the simple fact that I woke up and lived another day. How this habit changed me. What began as an experiment became one of the most powerful practices of my entire life. My sleep became deeper and more peaceful. My anxiety softened, my blood pressure lowered, my mood lightened, my spirit felt lighter. By choosing to focus on what was right instead of what was wrong, my entire emotional landscape shifted. And surprisingly, even my physical health seemed to respond, because when the mind relaxes, the body follows. My simple nighttime ritual. Each night, before turning off the lights, I sit for 5 minutes, sometimes even while lying in bed, and I quietly list 3 things I am grateful for. They don't have to be big. They don't have to be new. They just have to be real. I whisper them softly. Thank you for my family. Thank you for my body. Thank you for this safe home. That's it. No apps, no journals, no complicated systems. Just my thoughts, my heart, and a little moment of peace. Why this habit matters so much. Aging often tries to shrink our world, physically, mentally, emotionally, but gratitude expands it again. It opens our eyes to what remains, not just what's been lost. It brings joy to ordinary moments. It invites peace into places where fear used to live. And most importantly, it reminds me every single night, I am still alive. I still have love. I still have today. That reminder is what truly keeps my spirit young. Aging isn't about giving up. It's about shifting how you live at 78. If life has taught me anything, it's this. You do not stop living because you're old. You start aging faster when you stop living fully. The past years could have easily become a slow decline for me. Stiffness, fatigue, lost energy, and a growing sense that my best days were behind me. But instead of surrendering, I made small conscious choices to take back control. Not through radical treatments, expensive programs, or empty promises, but through simple, daily habits anyone can adopt. From starting my mornings with a spoonful of extra virgin olive oil, to protecting my digestion, restoring my joints, clearing my mind, and ending each day with gratitude. These little shifts built momentum. They didn't erase my age, but they restored my vitality. They brought back something far more important than youth, the will to keep living with joy, curiosity, and presence. If there's one thing I hope you take away from my story, it's this. Small habits matter. Tiny acts, done daily, can reshape how you experience aging. Not every solution needs to be complicated. Sometimes the most ancient, natural, and humble remedies are the ones your body's been waiting for all along. Whether you're 60, 70, or even 80, you still have time. Time to feel better. Time to reconnect with your body. Time to rebuild confidence. Time to live. Your years don't define you, your choices do. And every small habit you adopt becomes your quiet way of telling life, I'm still here, I'm still showing up, and I'm not done yet.